No notes, it's perfection. Absolutely not. It is not. I hated this book. I did not like it. Hello, beautiful besties. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Bailey and I like to read a little bit. Just a little bit. Am I aware that it is in fact the middle of September? Yes, I am. Are we still going to be doing my August reading wrap up now? Yes, indeed we are. The trip was super busy and I wanted to get those videos out to you guys. And so now we're gonna talk about all the books, you can see them, oopsies, that I read in August. And I am very, very excited because, drum roll please, I actually had a possible God tier book in August. Yes, you heard that correctly. Do you know how long it has been since I have had a God tier book? It's been since last year. So we're just gonna get right into it and talk about the 10 books. I did good in August, you guys, that I read last month. I honestly don't know how I read 10 books in August. That's actually crazy. I was so busy. Starting out August, I deviated from the TBR. Who would have thought? I read Dear Reader and Watch Your Back by Tate James. Now, if you don't know what these are like a why choose romance, but it's murder mystery, kind of a suspense in a way. More of a murder mystery, I'd say, not really suspense. I saw so many people ranting and raving about these and how good they were. I've read some of Tate James' other books, but if there's one thing about her I have noticed while reading her books, it's that she is going to captivate you at the end. She's gonna leave you wanting more. So keep that in mind while I'm talking about these next few books, okay? So Dear Reader, I started off, right, because I saw everybody talking about it. I went into it with, you know, mid expectations, whatever. I actually didn't even realize it was a why choose when I first started it, which was really, really dumb of me because it's Tate James. She predominantly writes why choose. So I don't know why I was shocked when I realized it was a why choose. I liked it. I rated the first one 3.75 stars. I had a good time with it. Basically, our FMC is a scholarship student at this college and she finds out her stepbrother is in this secret society that she wants no part of, him and his friends, and she ends up becoming a part of it, as you would guess. I really enjoyed how the first book ended. It shocked me. So I went on to the second book. Had high expectations because the ending, it shocked me, right? As I was reading book 2, let me say, I rated it 3.5 stars. Would I recommend these? Probably. They're not my favorite, but yeah, I'd say yeah. But the second book, I did not expect it to be as fast of a burn as it was, okay? By the end of it, I was only intrigued by one of the MMCs. And if it's a why choose and you're only intrigued by 1 out of 4, that's just not for me. Like, you know, I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna continue on. So I rated it 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it less than the first one. And the longer I sit on it, the more I think it was more of a 3-star. I don't know. It was okay. Nothing to write home about. The ending did get me in the second one too, but I don't think it got me enough to continue on now that I've sat on it a little bit, you know? So there's that. After that, I wanted something that I was like, sure, which granted, all the books that I pick up, I want to be sure that I'm going to like. But you know, I read in a whole bunch of different genres. I like stepping out of my comfort zone. So sometimes that just doesn't happen. But I went to my roots. I went to Gothic romance, okay? Because our book club pick of the month over on Fable was Nightshade by Autumn Woods. I had heard so many good things about this book. And when I tell you they were all correct, I mean it. I mean it, they were all correct. I loved this. I rated it 4 stars. I had so much fun with it. The MMC in this book was literally, he was emo sad boy, but he was perfect. The banter was good. It had me giggling and kicking my feet. He was so romantic and he was down bad. In our FMC, I really liked her too. But basically this is dark academia. It's gothic. It's a little bit spooky. Our FMC Ophelia, her parents are no more on this earth because of this super corrupt rich man. Anywho, her parents worked at this university. And so she's like, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to get revenge on this man. Well, whenever she's standing outside of the gates of the school on the very first day that she's supposed to go, who does she run into but his son? His super, super hot, banter-filled, sarcastic son. And when I tell you that the banter was good, I mean, like off the bat, she was like, I don't like him. Like, I feel like this wasn't enemies to lovers per se, but it really was like a, I do not like you. I do not want to like you to lovers. Like, yeah, she admitted he was attractive or whatever, but at first she was just like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was realistic in terms of like how she came to like him. You know what I mean? So I really, really, really like that aspect of it. I really love the MMC. Like I said, it was just moody moody and gothic. I guessed a little bit of the ending, so it wasn't like super unpredictable, but there was a part that I did not predict at all. I wasn't shocked that I liked this, but I was very happy that I loved it as much as I did. And I rated it 4 stars. It was really good. So if you're wanting like a gothic book to pick up right now, I recommend this one for sure. It is the start of a duet though, so keep that in mind. So we have to wait for the second book, but it's not a terrible cliffhanger. And then I picked up another book off of my TBR, and it was the one that I think I was one of the ones actually I was most scared of for August, and that was Bunny by Mona Awad. This book was weird. I went into it like people told me that it was a little creepy, a little weird, that kind of vibe, and they were not wrong. There was a lot of sarcasm in this book, I feel like, and I went down a rabbit hole. Excuse the pun. Haha. Went down a rabbit hole after I read this, trying to kind of understand more of what other people thought of the book too. I feel like with a book like this, everybody could take something different away. Everybody could think something different. You know what I mean? Just because it's so outlandish and weird. A lot of people were saying it was all a metaphor in a way. This is academia. They are all writers. It's kind of about the creative process, but it's also, I don't know how to describe it. You know what? I'm just gonna stop trying. It's weird. Go into it blind if you read it. In my opinion, I think you should. It's kind of freaky. I'm not going to lie, but it's funny. I did laugh out loud a lot. So I rated this book 3.75 stars, higher than I thought I was going to rate it. And I actually enjoyed it. This is a very like people either love it or hate it book, but I was in the middle. That's good. We read another book off the TBR and a book that has been sitting on my shelf for years. After that, we read a 6-star read. No notes, it's perfection. This is my possible God tier book of the month. And if you watch my other content on other platforms, you already know what this is. You already know what I'm about to whip out, okay? It is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. Do you know how long I have been putting this book off? I bought this when it first came out. What year did this copy come out? 2023. This has been on my shelf since 2023. And I let it sit there. That is so rude of me. How dare I do that? That's insane, actually. Because this book, these characters, I tabbed the living hell out of this book. A lot of people are scared of this book. I was one of them. If I did not have Emily to talk to before I read this book, I don't think I would have loved it as much as I did. I think I would have gotten confused for sure. But a lot of people get hung up on the glossary. Don't. Skip it. The only thing that you need to know going into this book, in my opinion, and in Emily's, and she has read this multiple times and is one of her favorites too, is you need to know how the time works. It's a completely different fantasy world. So there's different terms for the time. You have like before stone and after stone. An aurora cycle is equivalent to 24 hours. And then you have like aurora rise, and that's whenever the sun comes up. And then aurora fall, whenever the sun goes down. So aurora is essentially the sun, or the ribbons. It's the ribbons of light in the sky. But that's literally it. All you need to know is the terms. You don't need to know exactly what it is. You know, just use the context clues. Skip everything else. Because if you want to, you can go back and look at the glossary as you're reading. But really, even then, I feel like you would kind of confuse yourself a little bit. I do that at least with fantasy books. This is fantasy, heavy on the fantasy with romance. She made a whole separate universe, and it's insanely good. That you can tell how much thought and time went into her writing this book, and it's amazing. And the characters themselves, oh my God. I guessed some of the things that were gonna happen at the end of this book. I didn't give a shit. I didn't give one single shit, okay? I had so much fun while reading this. This man does the most romantic thing that I have ever read about in a fantasy book ever, in almost any book ever. And everybody just wants to move on from him. I can't. Con Vagor is everything. This non-toxic masculinity muscle of a man, that made no sense at all, but I'm obsessed with him. And I know a lot of people get really, really annoyed with Rave, our FMC, but I adored her. The fact that she literally bit off a man's finger and then pulled out his tendon later and was like, okay. The way that she was so sassy, and she's been through so much shit, but she still made humor out of nothing. I admire her. She has so much trauma, and it makes sense that she acted the way that she acted for sure. But this kind of story is one of my favorites. So if you were thinking about picking up When the Moon Hatched, please, for the love of God, let this be your sign. It's not gonna be for everybody, but it was for me. It was absolutely for me, and I need you to pick it up at the right time, because if you pick it up at the wrong time, when you're not ready for a whole new fantasy world to be completely immersed, you're not gonna like it. But I picked it up at the perfect time, so I hope you do when you read it too if you haven't yet. And if you have read it, I love this book. It put me in a slump that I am still kind of crawling my way out of. So that should give you an idea of where the next books are gonna go, in a way, kind of, a little bit. I still enjoyed some of them. The next book that I read, I was like, okay, so I can't read fantasy right now. I just read this epic fantasy book that is everything to me, and how am I gonna move on from this? So what I did instead was I complete genre changed and I went to a rock star romance. I read First Verse by L.M. Halloran. I did not like this. I rated this book 2 stars. 2 stars. That is a very low rating, okay? Normally I can find something that I like in a book, and I do think that this book had really good addiction representation. Basically, they're childhood best friends. They both start developing feelings, but they never act on it. They make a band together, and she ends up leaving, and he ends up not talking to her. They don't talk. Their families are also best friends. Their parents were in a band together too. They're all famous years later. She's making her own way. He comes back into her life. It's messy. It's toxic, you know, all the vibes. I went into this because I was told that it was like Drive by Kate Stewart. Did we read Drive, guys? And I'm not talking to everybody, obviously. I'm just talking to my friend who recommended it to me. No, that is disrespectful to Stella, Reed, and Nate to say that this book is like Drive. Absolutely not. It is not. I hated this book. I did not like it. I did rate it 2 stars because I had really good addiction rep, and I did think that it was very accurate. You could tell a lot of thought went behind how the addiction was written in the book, and I did like that. But the characters annoyed the hell out of me. And normally I love an annoying character. If everybody is hating on a character, I will be the one that can find a silver lining and be like, but they've been through trauma and stuff. I could not, no. I did not like these characters at all. I was in a book slump. I thought this was gonna fix it. It didn't fix it. I'm sorry for ranting about this book, but I did not like it. It was just way too spicy too, on top of that, for being a standalone. And it just, no. 2 stars. I'm sorry, guys. Wow, I really went off on a tangent there. I really didn't like that book. So all of that aside, I then read a book that I did like. I didn't love it, but I liked it. And it was also on the TBR. It was The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. I've been hearing about this book so much. I thought it was a YA book. It is in fact not. Okay, this is more NA, I would say. There's a little bit of spice, but it's not like overly graphic spice, which honestly, I haven't really been super into a whole bunch of spice lately, so it was perfect, right? I enjoyed this. It made me giggle, made me kick my feet a little bit. These two sleep together one night. She wakes up and she's like, oh no, I need to sneak out. And she sneaks out. They both want to find their person, so they both join this dating app. They end up seeing each other on this dating app, and they're like, you know what? We're gonna help each other find each other's person. What do you know happens after that? I don't know, read it and find out. But it was funny, it was cute. I don't know, it was just a really good light-hearted romance book. I rated it 3.75 stars. I had a fun time. I don't know if Lynn Painter is going to be an author that I read every book of hers. I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to, but I still liked it and I had a good time. So if you want something that's an easy romance read that still has enough depth to it to get you kind of like intrigued more by the book, then I do recommend this one for sure. And then I did myself dirty. I knew that I was still slumping from When the Moon Hatched, but I really wanted to read this next book, and I should not have. I read Dance of Lies by Brittney Arena. I've been seeing so many good things about this. I've seen so many good reviews, so I started it. I did not hate it, okay? I think that this was a case of right book, wrong time. I think I would have loved it more if I had read it a better time when I wasn't slumping from fantasy. So completely my bad, but I still had a good time. When I was reading it, I was really intrigued by it. I really liked the world. I thought it was unique, the whole vibe of it, everything. I just wasn't wanting to pick it up. I think this book took me like a week to get through. 5 days to 7 days, something like that, because I just didn't want to pick it up. And that's very unlike me. But then again, I was slumping. In this one, our FMC is a dancer, and she also has, I think it's supposed to be like the equivalent of Pott's disease. So our FMC was the favorite dancer of one of the kings in this world. All right, she was his jewel. She was in a very privileged position in his court. Well, she gets framed for a murder of someone in the court. And so the king puts her in the dungeon for like 2 years, something like that. It was years, right? So she comes out one day, he's like, I need you to go to this gathering of all of the kingdoms, and you are gonna dance, and you're going to basically do whatever I say if you want your freedom. Otherwise, I'm gonna tell all the other kingdoms what you did, and you're gonna be, I can't remember if it was sentenced to death, a prisoner again, go back to the dungeon, something like that, basically. But if she does what he says, she's gonna go free. She ends up meeting another one of the kings, which is actually the king that sent her there's brother, and she's like, things don't seem like how my king told me they were. Not everything seems as bad as he made it out to be, as per usual. So as the story story goes on, she starts to gain her confidence again, and it goes from there. I'm trying not to tell you guys too much, just the basics, like what is on the blurb. The ending shocked me. Once I really sat down and was like, okay, I'm going to finish this book, I really, really enjoyed it. But it was just, I didn't want to pick it up. So that was a me problem. I rated it 3.5 stars. It was fun. It was romantic-y. It wasn't like cut and paste of another story, which I really liked. It was unique in its own way. And then I read the book that I was like, this is gonna get me out of the slump. And you know what? It kind of did. I completely switched genres. I went way AWOL, okay? I went to a thriller. I was like, you know what? None of this is working. I need to go this way. So I picked up Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. This has so many ratings on Goodreads. I'm really, really glad I picked it up because I loved it. This was one that I did not want to put down. So Gio is our FMC, okay? So it's Gio, Angela, and Kaiser. Okay, they were all best friends when they were younger. Angela went missing whenever they were in high school. So she's gone. Years later, Kaiser is a police officer. Gio is a very successful woman. She's engaged, whatever. And this happens at the very beginning of the book, so I'm not spoiling anything. She gets arrested by Kaiser, not a police officer, he's a detective. He comes to her company to arrest her and take her away because they found Angela buried. She did not go missing, in fact, she was buried. And you know who gets put away for it? Gio and her high school boyfriend, Calvin. Okay, and so we are getting Gio's perspective on everything that was going on back in the day and how everybody treated everybody in the chain of events that led up to Angela going missing and who actually did it and what happened. And you're also getting in real time what's happening with her. And it was so good. I need to read more thrillers because I was glued to the page while I was reading this book. I had I actually, you know what? I wouldn't say a fun time. It wasn't really fun because it was very dark. Like I said, check your triggers. It was one of those books that was just addicting. Like I needed to know what happened. You know what I mean? So I highly recommend this book if you want something that is going to be a really good thriller. I caught on to a couple of things, but some of it I did not know at all. Highly recommend. I rated it 4 stars. So after that, I was like, I need something that I am going to be able to enjoy because I'm about to go on a trip and I know that I'm probably not going to get to read the whole thing before the trip. So I went into The Curse That Binds by Laura Thalassa. This is the prequel book to the Bewitched series. I do recommend reading Bewitched and Bespelled before reading this one, but this goes back into the past. We're getting the past before the present in the other books, okay? I don't want to say too much. I feel like whenever you're talking about a book that comes out in a series, you can't really say too much because I don't want to spoil it. If you haven't read Bewitched and Bespelled, you get the point. Whatever, Bailey. Come on, get to the point. I had in my head what I thought this was going to be because we got breadcrumbs in the other 2 books of what this was going to be. It was not really what I thought. I enjoyed it. It was good. It did not need to be this long. I felt like it could definitely have been shorter, but I still had a good time with it. You know, I feel like it was necessary in order to understand our 2 main characters in the series more. I did like that aspect. I think the next book in the series is going to be the final book, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I rated this 3.5 stars. I liked it. I didn't love it. And while I'm talking about this, I'm just realizing this. My rating scale is a little bit different for each genre that I read. Any book that is over 3 stars, I would still recommend. But I don't rate fantasy books the same as I rate contemporary books. I don't rate thrillers the same way I rate gothic romance books. I rate everything just a little bit differently. But as long as it's over a 3-star, I would say yes, you should read it. I read quite a bit off of my TBR, so I'm very, very proud of myself for doing that. Knocked out some books that I've been meaning to read for a long time. Found a possible God tier book. Let me talk about it again. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that to you. So all in all, I'd say it was a really, really good reading month. I don't know if I don't know if September is going to work out the same way, but we will see. I did also want to say real quick, I know that some of you have been waiting on my spooky gothic book rec video. I do have an updated one coming. It will hopefully be out next week. You can have all of your spooky gothic needs met with book recs. So I just wanted to let you know that that is coming. I did not forget about it. Don't you worry. You know, it's my favorite type of book, my favorite season. What was your favorite read of August? I want to know. Y'all know what mine is. When the Moon Hatched, hands down. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I love you guys so, so much. I hope you enjoyed the video and I will see y'all next week.